Hey everybody, my name is Pegasus Boot, and I'm just realizing that I don't have my logo up there. Hey, this is one of my first times to talk about video games in this format, and I hope y'all like it. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite video games, Dead Rising, as you can tell. It was recently remade on the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and PC. This is the first time the original Dead Rising has come to anything but the original Xbox 360, which, hey, that's pretty awesome. Now, I say it was a remake. Let me clarify. This is the exact same game you remember. This is not a remastering. It is the original game, but it looks a little bit nicer. They bumped it up to 1080 and 60 frames per second, and hey, they even gave you some extra save slots, and that's kind of cool. And it's Frank West. It's Frank West, and it's not chop till you drop. So, that's always awesome. Okay, first I'm going to start with talking about something from Game Informer. Game Informer recently came to my mouth. Came to right next to my mouth. Came to my house, and it has a big article about Dead Rising 4, Dead Rising's Twisted Sleigh Ride. Talks about how Frank's back in Willamette and the new game, and how you can modify yourself, and it looks absolutely terrible. Not Dead Rising, whatever. It's more Dead Rising 2 and 3. And hey, 2 just got remade as well as 2 Off the Record, and Dead Rising 3, I have it on Steam. I didn't like it. I didn't finish it. But hey, Frank's back. Hey, let me talk a little bit about this article before I go into Dead Rising release, because that's what all it is a re-release. They should have really made this game backwards compatible, but for whatever reason, they didn't. Like, literally, it looks a little bit nicer, and that's it. New game, new Frank. Dead Rising 4 stars Frank West, but the longtime hero is getting a new voice. With the fourth entry, Capcom Vancouver has decided to replace longtime actor TJ Rotolo. With Dead Rising 4, we wanted Frank to grow physically and mentally, says studio director Joe Nichols. 16 years is a long time, and we also wanted to make sure that the chemistry of the voices and the characters were awesome. We do have a new voice for Frank. TJ was really important at the beginning of the game. I don't know why. Bryce Cochran is also the narrator, apparently. Dead Rising 1 was a Japanese take on American society, which was awesome and great. And we needed to find how to keep that Frank West being true to the original character, but also a little more grounded, a little more appropriate to North American audiences. For starters, did I think that is that accurate to say that the original Dead Rising was this, how do they Japanese take on American society? Possibly, especially in the sense that it was all pro-consumerism, and it was also against the government, and I don't know, in that sense, I guess you could argue that. But they also think that this game is a comedy, which I'm like, it was never like telling jokes and stuff. It was sitcom-y a little bit, I guess. It's a situational comedy in the sense that you're this average guy taking photos and you're bored, and hey, you have to amuse yourself because you are the player, and the player is Frank West. No. Dead Rising rises from the last gen grave. Dead Rising has a fair amount of lore to wade through at this point, including the circumstances behind the initial outbreak, the military response, and the people who stand to make a profit from a zombie infection. Capcom is making it easier to catch up on the first few games with re-releases on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's why I'm reading this. It talks about the re-releases right there. These aren't remasters, such as the ones that the Resident Evil games have seen over the past few years, which featured reworked textures and models. Instead, the draw here is that you can play the original titles in 1080p resolution, running at 60 frames per second. In turn, I'm going to change voices. In terms of changes, there aren't a lot of changes. Say John Earhart, Director of Product Operations at Capcom Vancouver. We really wanted to keep that classic gameplay and bring it to a new generation of gamers. This will be the first time the original game has been released on a Sony console too. Yeah, also the first time it was re-released ever besides the Wii Chop to You Drop that was terrible. As the oldest game in the series, Dead Rising 1 is getting a few revisions. Players can have several save slots as opposed to the single one available in the original Xbox 360 release. Additionally, the controls are getting tweaked to support analog input, particularly in the camera controls. It's a really subtle thing, but it helps to bring the game forward a little bit. Earhart says, players also get access to all of the available DLC. Alright, so the downloadable content that came out with the original Dead Rising. Now, that is, of course, the alternate costumes that you can just pick up in the lockers. They did this originally as a thank you. Capcom was like, hey guys, this game has surpassed all of our expectations. So now these lockers that were in the, what was it, break room or whatever, security room, doesn't matter. Here's some free costumes. We love you guys. Download like 8 keys or however many, and you're like, oh hey, a pimp suit. Okay, it wasn't a pimp suit. It was like nice, really pretty pink shirt and white pants and other kinds of stuff. But you know, it's cool. Anyways, it was cosmetic in the first century, but later games include outfits with gameplay bonuses. Don't ever do this again. Seriously, I know you're doing like giant fists for the next game, but it's stupid. It's worse than the combo weapons, such as a ninja outfit that prevented players from getting grabbed by zombies. 3 games are getting re-released. The first, Dead Rising, which is what I'm talking about. Dead Rising 2, which has a mermaid. And as a digital-only release, Dead Rising 2, Off the Record. Really? Only digitally? Huh. Didn't know that. I didn't know that any of them were actually getting released physically, to be completely honest. Bought mine on Xbox One via just, you know, download because I had a $3 credit because of Bing. Thank you, Bing. Bing. God, I hate Bing. They're priced at $19.99 a piece, and all 3 games will be available to download on September 13th. Dead Rising 1 will be available to retail that day, too, and Dead Rising 2 hits stores on the 27th. I always wanted a digital copy of Dead Rising 2, but I didn't have a good excuse because I still own the physical disc. Dead Rising 2, I think I got on Halloween a couple of years ago, or close to Halloween, for a discounted price, or maybe it was off the record. Let's see. Licensing issues are keeping Dead Rising 2's prologue, Case Zero, and epilogue, Case West, off the table. But this trio of games should provide newbies plenty of backstory to chomp on, as well as an appreciation of why people like Frank West so much. There you have it. That's why they put him in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, because people love Frank West, and why he's in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I think he's in the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well. Could be wrong. Someone correct me. But yeah, speaking of Dead Rising, and people loving Frank, I searched game FAQs, which is a terrible thing to do, checking out their message boards once a game comes out, but let's take a look at what they got. Let's see. I missed this game so much. PD Piranha 123, 4 weeks ago. I remember going on the Dead Rising boards here in 2008. I was late to the game. Seeing the huge community. You know what? Oh, and then he points out the transmissionary achievement. That was hard. You basically had to answer your phone for all of Otis's phone calls, and he'd tell you to get survivors, and you had to do certain things to get certain phone calls, and I've never gotten it. And yeah, no, he's completely right on that. See, this is the thing that always pisses me. They always come up with something like Dead Rising, it's too hard, or it's too... or the saves are terrible. The clock equals lazy devs that need to try and make a game last or have replay. by Kish 1975. Clock equals lazy devs that need to try and make a game last or have replay. I mean, the whole point of the game is you can do whatever you want in the mall, and you keep leveling up. Frank West is based on an RPG system. This is why the last game was a million times better. Oh god, and why only one was hated by the masses for one reason. One, only a forced timer when most gamers want to enjoy the game, not be rushed. They rushed by what they want to explore. I don't like the way this person writes. Basically, he's saying that Dead Rising sucked because it had an unforgivable timer. But you know what? That was because they had like 4 or 5 different endings depending on what you did in the mall. The whole point of Dead Rising was not to play the story. The whole point of Dead Rising was you are trapped in a mall for at least 3 days, and you have to do whatever you want. You're a photojournalist, man. Save people, go out and, I don't know, help people. It's stupid to me that people keep wanting to bitch. They're just bitching. They're complaining about the core concept of the game because all they want is a Grand Theft Auto clone. Well, I'm sorry. Dead Rising, what's funny is when I first saw it, it kind of felt like a tech demo for Grand Theft Auto. They're like, because there's like a little area where you can drive and all that. You can beat up people, and one of the zombies is kind of dressed promiscuous like a prostitute. No, sorry. Like a classy escort. But, you know, people just do not want to, I don't know. People complain about what Dead Rising was and they didn't like it. And they liked what a different company, Blue Castle Games, which came Capcom Vancouver, turned it into. And I'm sorry, but that's just not Dead Rising to me, you know? I don't know. But I'm really liking Dead Rising 1 on Xbox One, even though it's the exact same game and the exact same achievements. But you know what? There is something a little different that someone's found out on Dead Rising 1. A user by the name of Rob Cram has shown Dead Rising boob physics have been removed from Jesse. Because of course he found out about this because, yeah, let's show an example of it. I'm not going to play the audio because, well, go watch his video, but also because he blames social justice warriors as the reason, and I disagree. He shows the PC version, and then he's going to show the Xbox 360 version. I'm not going to play the entire clip, but okay, she went down, she goes up, she's walking around, she's wiggling or not wiggling, and 360 version, you're seeing her chest kinda, it's not Dead or Alive physics by any mean, but I mean, it was for a first game on their for a game that just came out on 360 to show the breast physics. That was something, you know. And the fact that the PC version doesn't seem to show them, that's just lazy porting in my experience when something like this happens. And I don't think that they were like, social justice warriors, this is the character they all complained about. I'm like, dude, this is a character that you just keep taking photos of her cleavage so you can level up because you got 2 hours to kill in game. You know, I just don't see it. But hey, that's just me. But so Dead Rising 2 off the record, not going to buy. Dead Rising 3 already own on PC, and okay, I said I wasn't going to buy the other ones. I own them on 360 and PC as well. But yeah, Dead Rising 1 is such a great game, and I remember experiencing it for the first time was amazing. I wish I had a picture, or I could show you the picture. I cosplayed as one of the True Eye Cultists once at Onicon. I love this game so much. You gotta play. If you've never played it, dude, it's only $20. Pick it up digitally. I'd prefer, because you know what? It's basically the same experience these days. You still have to wait a while to download it, and I think it's only like 8 gigs or something like that. So you probably have the space. So as far as Dead Rising 2 or 2 Off the Record, what do I say? If you haven't played it, buy it on Xbox One, because I don't know if they've updated the Steam version, but the Steam version does, last I checked, did not support controllers. There's people are using some workarounds with Joy Key and stuff like that, I think, but I wasn't going to do that. I just started using a mouse and keyboard, and it worked out well enough. Dead Rising 3 is not part of this, neither is 2 Off the Record or Dead Rising 2 Case West, which were basically kind of like demos, except for Case West. That was pretty cool. It was a buddy, kind of like a buddy flick with Chuck Green and Frank West. But anyways, and like I said, I probably won't buy Dead Rising 4, but I've bought all the other ones, so yeah, chances are I'm going to be buying the next one. But hey, maybe it's just me. I just love Frank West, but the thought that they aren't getting the original voice actor just kills it, man. I know it's going to have all the combo weapons. Arrgh. Oh, Dead Rising. Why can't you return to the simpler times of Dead Rising 1? Oh, wait, I remember why. Keiji Inafune, Mega Man creator, is gone from Capcom. He made the game as a direct response to Resident Evil 4's Not Zombies. And yeah, without him, y'all lost direction. Well, y'all continued to stray. I don't know if he was okay with Vancouver taking over, but for 2. But anyways, that's my opinions on Dead Rising, as well as the franchise in general. What do y'all think? Do y'all prefer Dead Rising over Resident Evil? Do you prefer Resident Evil over Dead Rising? Put some comments below, and hey, I will catch you all next time, and y'all have a wonderful day, all right? Be good to each other. You hear?